Hello my crafty friends, Corrine here from Corrine's Crafts. I hope you are well. Have I got an exciting project for you today? Look at this. It is the most beautiful card. Now we have got some glitter paste stencil. I'm trying to find a bit there you can actually see it properly. Oh, look at that. You can see that glitter paste stencil. We've got a shaker element. We've got a floating snowflake on the front. We've got heat embossing on some vellum, and we've got this gorgeous white flower all together to make the most beautiful clean and simple card. I hope you like it. I'm going to show you now how it's made. I'm not quite sure how I got to where I am with making this card, but I knew I wanted to make a shaker card. I also knew I wanted to make a sort of a floating snowflake card. So I thought, why not make the two together? So what I have done is I have taken a square of card, 5 3/4 by 5 3/4. You've heard me say this before. I do this dimension because I can get 2 out of a sheet of A4, so that's where my measurements come from. And I've just cut a circle with a die right, this one I've done it out of the centre, but the one I'm actually going to use, I've just done it up a little bit, so I've got a slightly bigger bit at the bottom. But I just want to show you the technique on this one. So just got a regular circle die and cut out the centre. I'm going to get my craft mat. I'm going to pop that on. Now I'm just going to do, I don't know if this will work, but I'm just going to put 2 little bits of dotty tape pen on the back and see if that might just hold a little bit. And then I'm going to get my stencil. So any stencil, I just wanted dots, and I'm just making sure it's above so that I've got room to put my masking tape on. So I'm just going to get some masking tape and put it through there. Now I did actually think I could emboss this through my die cutting machine first using my craft mat, but that's just another technique that you can do, which is really good. So yeah, if you wanted to, and then do your glitter paste through. So what I'm going to then do is I'm going to get my clear glitter paste. So it's a clear sparkle glitter paste onto white card, so it's just going to give a beautiful, beautiful effect. So we're just going to take this and we're just going to pop it onto here, and then we're just going to bring it down, all the way down. Now I don't want too much, so I can really be frugal with my glitter paste, and then just scrape off any that doesn't. I'm not after loads of great height. I want to get quite close to the aperture, but I'm going to put a frame on. So if it's not totally right to the edge, it doesn't matter. So just concentrate, make sure you've got it all the way to the edges on that side, because like I can see, that one's not got anything in. And then, like I say, just take it off the top of the stencil, because you can use that again. So just work all the way around. And then, so I find that shape palette knife works for me, because I can just get a nice sort of rhythm going and the right sort of amount of pressure. So making sure it goes right to the edge. Now I'm going quite thin, and when I did one in prep, because I needed it to be dry, it really didn't take much more than about 30 minutes to dry, because as you can see, I'm scraping it off level with the stencil. So again, you can really, you're only using the bare minimum, and I can make sure all that's scraped off. So all of that back in the pot. So I'm really not using any more than I need to. Try and get your stencil and your palette knife into some water as soon as possible. But if you don't, like me, and I left mine in my craft room for hours because I forgot, just drop them into some warm soapy water, give it 10 minutes, and then give it a rub, and it comes off. So you can see on here, there we go, we have this. Doesn't that look beautiful? Now what I tend to do is I just run my finger all the way around, just to remove any excess that's gone over the edges. It just gives me a neater finish. And again, you can do it on the inside, or like I said, I've got a frame to go there. So that is my frame. So I just need to put that somewhere to dry. And like I say, that really won't take very long to dry. But look, can you see how it's sparkling? Is it catching the light? Isn't that absolutely gorgeous? So that is my topper. Let me just put that to dry, and here is my dry one all ready to go. So I want to make a shaker. Now I make my shakers as a standalone unit, so I think I'm going to try and do a quick short tutorial on how to do these, but you'll have seen them in other videos and I will try and link to it. But basically it's just 2 pieces of thick acetate. I put my foam tape where I want to go. Make sure you dust it with an anti-static bag, and then you've got your shaker elements. Now I don't like a skinny shaker. If you're going to have a shaker, make sure you've got plenty in there. I wanted lots in there, so I've got fine glitter and also a chunky glitter as well to give me the effect that I want. And I've also taken a piece of vellum and I've just heat embossed Merry Christmas on that. And I did some heat embossing quite recently, and the reason I heat emboss is because if you just do regular stamping, lots of the inks don't dry. You could do something like your stays on, but then you're sort of limited to the colours of your stays on. So I'm going to pop that around the bottom, so you can see why on the one I've just done I did it in the centre, why I suddenly thought to myself, no, I want it slightly higher so that I've got room to wrap this round. Now I'm not scoring, so I could measure and do 5 3/4, but I find that sometimes it doesn't work because you've got that to take into account of it wrap. I find you get a much better result just holding it and wrapping it round. All I'm going to do then, you can use any medium you like, but I'm just going to use red liner, and all I'm going to do is very rough and readily, oops, that bounced, put my red liner on the back to hold it tight, and that is all I need to do. Now the other bit I'm going to do is I'm going to pop this onto get my card base ready. So I've got a 7-inch card, or a card suitable for a 7-inch envelope. They've got some matte silver and I've got a piece of white. Now I've gone white because I thought I could have had my silver as my first matte layer. Let me show you. But if I did that, I'd have the silver through there, and I didn't want that. So let me pop those onto my card base. What I'm going to do is I'm going to be popping that on to my card, but I need to sandwich in my shaker first. Like I say, it's just 2 pieces of acetate with some foam tape in. Now there's 2 reasons I do this. One, I get a neater finish. I know it's going to be sealed, I know everything, but 2, I like the glitter or whatever you've got your shaker elements to be against both sides, to be against the acetate. I find you get a much better shake. Sometimes if your card's not like a really super smooth card, you might find that it catches on the card, so you don't get the lovely shake. But if it's loose pieces onto there, so that's going to go on the back here. So what you'll see is I put red liner tape on both sides. But before I do that, I've just taken that same die that I cut my aperture with, and I've cut it out of a circle with a stitched circle on the outside. And I've only done that just to give it a bit of interest. So I'm going to pop this onto here. I'm using my tacky glue sparingly because I know it'll hold, but tacky glue is nice and strong and it'll work really well with the over top of the glitter. So I did think to myself, did I want to put foam on there? But then I thought, no, you've got foam. I'm just going to actually catch that under there because I think that'll work. I've got foam tape under in the shaker element, so I don't need any more height on this. I'm just pressing down there. Like I say, it's going to take a minute or 2 because you're asking it to glue on top of glitter paste. But there you go. That's now stuck down. So I'm going to flip this over. I think this is going to be the easiest way. Rather than a stick, I could stick onto there and then hope I've got it in the right place. But what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to turn this over. My frame's not sticking just yet, but never mind. It'll get there. There isn't a right and a wrong side. Both sides are equally as good. So get rid of my lovely anti-staticky red liner backing. Red liner is a really good medium to use for acetate. And then I'm going to just hover that over. So when I turn over, I've now got that, which looks absolutely gorgeous. So now when I come to put it onto my card, right, before I do that, I need to get my foam tape, the foam tape that I've used in my shaker. And I need to put I'm doing this because that foam tape is in the centre. If I don't put any more on, the edges of my card will bow, and I don't want that. So this is just there for support, and because I'm using exactly the same foam that I used in my shaker, I know it's going to be to the same height. So we can take that, and then we can, now in effect, I didn't need this red liner. This is really belt and braces, because this foam tape is going to hold it nice and tight. Did you notice I didn't take the back off that red liner? Didn't need to. That red liner is just there to hold that piece of vellum down. Never need to take the backing off. No one is ever going to see. This is good. Now again, this doesn't need to be sealed because it's not holding in the glitter. Now you could say, why have I bothered with 2 lots of foam tape? Why didn't I just use this frame and make that sealed and have my shaker elements? If I did that, what would have happened is all the glitter would have fallen down here behind the aperture. So if I turn it round, what would have happened is all the glitter would have dropped down here. So if I wanted to be seen, I'd have either had to have used more glitter, or I'd have had a time when a lot of the glitter wasn't visible, and I didn't want that. So that, again, it was just about an aesthetic thing. For me, it's just about making sure that the glitter stays where I want it to be. I know it's there. Actually, I should have put that the other way around so that that was at the top. I missed that one. I usually do, because then you're less likely for it to leak as well. Okay, that was my bad. I should have done that. Okay, so there's my card base. I've definitely got it the right way up, and I'm going to pop this on here like that. There we go. Absolutely gorgeous so far. So we've got this gorgeous shaker element, and then we've got the white and the silver. So it's looking really lovely with that on to there. Now I mentioned about having a floating star. So what I have done is I have got myself some foam sheets. Just these come in the 1mm, a 2mm and a 3mm. If you don't have something like this, all you need to do is maybe just get some foam and put some adhesive on the back. And I've cut it with my Snowflake die. Nothing complicated. So it'll pop out of the foam. It's adhesive on both sides. I'm just going to push this out gently from the middle. This is a 2-piece die. So it's just hopefully going to make it easier. I'm going to treat it gently because I don't want it to break. So you can see this is foam, and there we go, look. Foam with adhesive on both sides. So what I'm going to do, still got that one on. There we go. I'll actually do it on some crafts so that you can see. I was going to do it on, I've got some white at the side of me, but I'm not going to use that. Right, I'm going to take the top side of my adhesive sheet off. So let's take the top side off, and I call this the top side because it's the side that bevels down with the die cut. Now you might need to do, I sometimes find that this can need to be done in a couple of goes because this cover sheet can rip. Oh, is this going to come off in one go? And you also have to be careful that it doesn't fold in on itself because, as you can see, it's very adhesive. So you just got to go nice and carefully, but it's worth taking that time just to do that. There we go. So that is now lovely and sticky. So there we go. Right, so all I'm going to do now is I've got some regular glitter. Here we go, just a big tub of regular glitter. If I'd got my old pot, I could have just dipped it in. Can this dip in? Can I get this to dip in? Oh, I could go like, that would make it easier, wouldn't it? Go on in you. And you'll see, as soon as you put that on, that bit is no longer sticky. So it makes life a lot easier. There we go. I did have a, a takeaway tub full of glitter. I bet that's in the drawer. And I used that because you could just dunk. Right, there you go. It's not sticky at all. The glitter has stuck to the adhesive. Isn't that absolutely gorgeous? Really, really nice. So if I bring my card back in, and it's, apart from the throw bits, the odd bits, it's really sticking really well. And then all I need to do now is take the back off, because it was double-sided adhesive. So I can just, again, the same criteria applies. It could come off in pieces, but that's not a problem. But just make sure it doesn't, after you've done all this hard work, make sure it doesn't stick to itself. There we go. So all I'm going to do is bring in my card. And you know what? I actually cut this aperture without getting the die out. But it's the perfect size. It just floats in the middle. Oops, stuck to my finger. Don't pull off now at that end, this late stage. There we go. Look at that floating in the middle. Isn't that absolutely gorgeous? I am so chuffed with that. So the final little bit I want to do is I'm going to bring it in a mat. I've taken a poinsettia die and I've taken some foliage die, and I've just cut them all out of white. So I just need my ball tool, and I'm just going to shape this a little bit. We're nearly there with the card. It's ever so simple, but so effective. And just thought, actually, the foliage I've cut in white, which probably would have looked really good in silver, but I've not. I've done it in white, so we'll stick with that. I've got my glue gun, and I've got my glue gun purely for speed. So I'm going to put a little blob of glue in there. I'm going to stagger my poinsettia. Oops, that's not staggered. That's staggered. And then press down with the ball tool. And just by holding that there, that hot glue is going to dry and set around the shape of my ball tool. So that poinsettia will now stay that shape. So I'm going to pop another little bit in the centre. In the centre. I've got a little gem here. Look, you can see, and I'm just going to pop that into the centre of my poinsettia. I'm just having to press that down a little bit. There we go. And that is just going to go on to my card along with 1, 2, I thought I had 3. I did once upon a time have 3 pieces of foliage. I now only have 2. I do this all the time, but 2 is going to be fine. I'm going to pop that like that. I'm going to put a little blob of glue on the back of my poinsettia, like that, and that will then catch on there. And that, I think I want one of those to go there. Bear with me and I'll just find one. Okay, so what I found is not exactly the same, but it might be fractionally bigger, so I think it will work better. I found one of those, but this one is just fractionally better. So if I put this onto the foam, oops, and I'm dropping my gem, and then I pop that on there, I think that finishes that off perfectly. There we go. So how about that? What do you think? So we've got our shaker element. We've got our snowflake just sort of floating because it's floating on the acetate. And then we've got our gorgeous white poinsettia as well. Now, if you wanted to add colour, if you aren't into all white cards, then go for it. It will be really simple. But I think that is really, really pretty. I love the simple sentiment across the middle as well. And there you go. How about that? Really, really pretty. I hope you like that. Yes. And let me know if you decide to have a go at making something like that, because I'd love to know. As always, please don't forget to click on the links in the description, and I will try to add in a subscribe button as well up there. So thank you for watching, and I'll speak to you all very soon.